ruling as a large territory as the Indian subcontinent with such a diversity of people and cultures was extremely difficult task for any ruler to accomplish in the Middle Ages. Quite in the contrast to their predecessors, the Mughal created an empire and accomplished what had hitherto seemed possible for only short periods of time. From the later half of the 16th century, they expanded their kingdom Agra and Delhi until in the 17th century they controlled nearly all the subcontinent. They imposed structures of administration and ideas of governance that outlasted their rule, leaving a political legacy that succeeding rulers of the subcontinent could not ignore. Today, the Prime Minister of India addresses the nation on Independence Day from the ramparts of the Red Fort in Delhi, the residence of the Mughal emperors. These are the Mughal emperors. First one is Babur, second one is Humayun, third one is Akbar, fourth one is Jahangir, fifth one is Shah Jahan. Sixth and last powerful Mughal emperor is Aurangzeb. Mughals were the descendants of two great lineages of rulers. From their mother's side, they were descendants of Genghis Khan, died at 12,027, and the ruler of Mongol tribes, China and Central Asia. From their father's side, they were the successors of Timur, died at 1404, the rulers of Iran, Iraq and modern-day Turkey. But the Mughals don't want to be called as Mughal or Mongol. This was because Genghis Khan's memory was associated with the massacre of innumerable people. It was also linked with the Uzbeks, their Mongol competitors. On the other hand, the Mughals were proud of their Timurid ancestry because the great ancestor captured Delhi in 1398. They celebrated their genealogy pictorially. Each ruler get a picture made of Timur and himself. Look at this miniature. Timur is in the center. On his right is son Miran Shah, the first Mughal emperor, Babur's great-great-grandfather, and an Abu, Babur's grandfather. To the left of Timur are Sultan Muhammad Mirza, Babur's great-grandfather, and Umar Sheikh, Babur's father. The Mughal emperors Babur, Akbar, and Shah Jahan are the third, fourth, and fifth. Individuals on Timur's right on his left in the same order are Humayun, Jahangir and Aurangzeb. Babur, the first Mughal emperor, 1526 to 1530, succeeded to the throne of Fergana in 1494 when he was only 12 years old. He was forced to leave his ancestral throne due to the invasion of another Mongol group, the Uzbeks. After years of wandering, he seized Kabul in 1504. In 1526, he defeated the Sultan of Delhi, Ibrahim Lodi, at Panipat and captured Delhi and Agra. Defeated Ibrahim Lodi and his Afghan supporters at Panipat in 1526. Defeated Rana Sanga Rajput rulers and allies at Kannauj in 1527. In 1528, he defeated Rajputs at Chanderi, established control over Delhi and Agra before his death. Humayun divided his inheritance according to the will of his father. Each brother were given a province. The ambitions of his brother Mirza Kamran weakened Humayun's cause against Afghan competitors. Sher Khan defeated Humayun at Chausa and Kannauj, forcing him to flee to Iran. In Iran, Humayun received help from the Safed Shah. He recaptured Delhi in 1555 but died in an accident the following year. Akbar was 13 years old when he became emperor. His reign can be divided into three periods. Akbar became independent of the regent Bairam Khan and other members of his domestic staff. Military campaigns were launched against the Suris and other Afghans, against the neighboring kingdoms of Malwa and Gondwana, and to suppress the revolt of his half-brother Mirza Hakim and the Uzbeks. In 1568, the Sisodaya capital of Chittor was seized, and in 1569, Ranthambore. Military campaigns in Gujarat were followed by the campaigns in the east in Bihar, Bengal, and Orissa. These campaigns were complicated by the 1579 and 1580 revolt in the support of Mirza Hakim. Expansion of Akbar's empire. Campaigns in the northwest. Kandahar was seized from the Safavids. Kashmir was annexed, as also Kabul. After the death of Mirza Hakim, campaigns in the Deccan started and Berar, Khandesh and parts of Ahmednagar were annexed. In the last years of his reign, Akbar was distracted by the rebellion of Prince Salim, the future Emperor Jahangir. Military campaigns started by Akbar continued. The Sisodiya ruler of Mewar, Amar Singh, accepted Mughal service. Less successful campaigns against the Sikhs, the Ahoms and Ahmednagar followed. Prince Khurram, the future Emperor Shah Jahan, rebelled in the last years of his reign. The efforts of Nur Jahan, Jahangir's wife, to marginalize him were unsuccessful. Mughal campaigns continued in the Deccan under Shah Jahan. The Afghan noble Khan Jahan Lodi rebelled and was defeated. Campaigns were launched against Ahmednagar. The Bandelas were defeated and Orcha seized. In the northwest, the campaign to seize Balkh from the Uzbeks was unsuccessful and Kandahar was lost to the Safavids. In 1632, Ahmednagar was finally annexed and Bijapur forces sued for peace. In 1657-1658, there was conflict over succession amongst Shah Jahan's sons. Aurangzeb was victorious and his three brothers including Dara Shikoh were killed. Shah Jahan was imprisoned for the rest of his life in Agra. In the northeast, the Ahoms were defeated in 1663 but rebelled again in the 1680s. Campaigns in the northwest against the Yusufzai and the Sikhs were temporarily successful. Mughal intervention in the success and internal politics of the Rador Rajputs of Marwar led to their rebellion. Campaigns against the Maratha chieftain Shivaji were initially successful, but Aurangzeb insulted Shivaji, who escaped from Agra, declared himself an independent king and resumed his campaigns against the Mughals. Prince Akbar rebelled against Aurangzeb and received support from Marathas and Deccan Sultanate. He finally fled to the Safavid Iran. After Akbar's rebellion, Aurangzeb sent armies against the Deccan Sultanates. Bijapur was annexed in 1685 and Golconda in 1687. From 1698, Aurangzeb personally managed campaigns in the Deccan against the Marathas, who started guerrilla warfare. Aurangzeb also had to face rebellion in North India of the Sikhs, Jats and Satnamis, in the northeast of the Ahoms and in the Deccan of the Marathas. His death was followed by a succession conflict amongst his sons. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more updates.